Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, relationships form the fabric of our lives. It is the cornerstone of human experiences. It shapes our emotions, well-being, and our sense of belonging. Registered counselor and psychology supervisor Sadia Southgate is here to unpack the importance of human relationships. Welcome back to the Loft, Sadia.
Thank you so much.
I love that term, human relationships, because with the advent of AI and with cyber relationships, we almost have to differentiate what is an online relationship and what's a human relationship. Can you unpack that more for me?
Yes, of course. You know, when we look at human relationships, it is connections that we have with different people, connection by blood, connection by association, and even connection by emotional and even professional that we have in our different work environments as well. But I would say that human relationships are important because it helps us, you know, to connect with other people, but also connect essentially with ourselves, and it helps us to almost resolve conflict, but also to recognize certain faults and even issues that we have within ourselves. But essentially, I believe that human relationships is a basic human need.
Yes, absolutely. So in 2024, I'm sure in your practice, a lot of people come in and they're either discussing their relationship with themselves or their relationship with themselves in relation to others. How has that changed for you in the last few years, you know, when we look at so many relationships being formed online?
Essentially, I believe that the relationship is better when the individual is better. So yes, we are learning and growing about ourselves, but there's the core relationship that we look at, and that is first and foremost the ones that we build with our families, you know.
Okay.
And for most people, that could be not just the first and core relationship, but it's the strongest relationship that we do build with our family and with our siblings as well. But you have romantic relationships, and these are our partners that we are attracted to, but then you also get friendships as well, and these are people that's not blood related.
Yes.
But essentially people that we choose to interact with and people we spend our time with. Then you've got your personal and even professional relationships as well. And essentially that comes down to people that you see on a regular basis, people you interact with, you work with, and also just essentially from the build a professional relationship with.
Yes. So you talk about the nucleus first, which is the people that you are most intimate with, starting with your family, and then it goes out and out like that onion layer. But would you agree that the most important relationship you are going to have is the relationship with yourself?
Yes, you know, I believe that when I'm, you know, being the best version of myself in the relationship, that the relationship essentially grows as well. That's what it comes down to, is I get to grow, my partner gets to grow, and effectively we get to grow together as well, because if I'm insecure in my relationship, it's going to filter down into other relationships as well, or if I'm insecure within myself, that's going to filter as well. But essentially when it comes to just navigating, you know, through our self-discovery, I know that I'm insecure, so I'm not envious or competitive towards my partner or my work colleagues, my friendship circles as well. It's more of I celebrate their strengths, I look at my strengths and how I contribute that within the different relationships that I have with people. And essentially that's what it comes down to, is how am I secure? Because when I'm insecure in my relationship, it filters down to other relationships.
I really love that you've mentioned that, and I'd love to unpack that even more. So it's so easy to become envious. It's so easy to feel competitive. It's so easy to feel like you're not good enough. How does one develop a healthy relationship with oneself so that you don't feel envious when it comes, you know, to your partner or your friendship circle or your peers at work?
Yeah, I would basically start with asking simple questions like, what am I grateful for today? What are my strengths? Instead of, you know, amplifying my weaknesses, but looking at what am I good at, and in the different aspects of my relationship, like what is my strengths in my personal relationships? What are my strengths in my working environment? What are my strengths within my family? And in that way, I focus on those strengths. I amplify that instead of magnifying my weaknesses, because envy and hatred is such a big thing in our society today. So it's very easy to become competitive, because now you see things on social media and it triggers an insecurity within yourself. So it's important to constantly be self-aware, because that self-awareness will kind of tell you whether you have a good or a bad relationship with yourself.
I love that. And you talk about, you know, comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. We are on the brink of Valentine's Day. It's also a day that's highlighted for some as not being in a relationship, or being in a relationship and not having a successful one. If one is in the midst of a relationship that they're navigating at the moment and it's not going too well, but they really want to try and make it work because it's so much easier to walk away from that, what would your advice be?
My advice would be graceful towards yourself. Most importantly, when you are going through a heartbreak or disappointment, notice what your conversation is like with yourself, because sometimes I think as human beings, if something don't work, we give up and we don't try again. So the important thing is to try again and keep trying, because I believe that every relationship, whether it's with our families, with our friends, it's seasonal as well. Sometimes we outgrow it, and just because we're outgrowing it, it doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with us or the other individual. But essentially, it's about allowing myself to grow in the relationship, looking at what went wrong and how can I improve within my next relationship, but also allowing others to grow as well, because sometimes we just, look at ourselves, and vice versa, we look at other people and we just are judgmental and make assumptions and run with that, which is quite a killer. But essentially, it's about allowing each other to grow and extending grace. That's so important, because when I'm not my best self, what are my conversations like?
Extending grace. Thank you so much. As we've explored the importance of human relationships, it's just as important to navigate conflicts with care. Later on, Sadia will share a few tips to resolve conflict, and we'll see you in a bit.